The Rafa Marquez era with Mexico is about to begin. And guess where? That's right, in good old USA. The Mexican Federation can't help themselves. Okay, mi gente. Rafa Marquez was announced as planned, taking over from Javier Aguirre till 2030. 4-year cycle for Rafa Marquez, and we all have hope. He is a coach unlike any Mexican coach. Pedigree as a player, and already done his time in a quality setup like La Liga in Barcelona Athletic, which is the B team of Barcelona. But if you ask anybody what Rafa Marquez was like as a head coach, and they'll speak very glowingly of Rafa, of what he did developing players in his brief time with Barcelona Athletic. The Lamine Yamals, the Pau Cubarcis, the Gavis of the world. This type of player, Marc Casado, it's Rafa Marquez influenced. He knows what he is doing when it comes to development. Will he know what he is doing when it comes to first team? Well, remains to be seen, but we have high hopes because of the ceiling. Now, what we know is the Rafa Marquez era is going to begin, and in the USA. Mexican football cannot help themselves. Moleros, 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 moleros. If you don't know, the marketing arm, those who schedule the Mexican Footballing Federation's games, is Soccer United Marketing. That used to be the marketing arm of Major League Soccer. They used to schedule both the U.S. men's national team games and the Mexican national team games. Now the U.S. does something else. They've got their own. And this American company, based in the United States, does all the marketing for Mexico. And where do they go? Where the dollars are, not where the pesos are. Game number 1 versus Colombia, September 26th in Baltimore, Maryland. Game number 2 versus Peru, September 29th at Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. And game number 3 in the United States versus the United States down in Phoenix, actually Glendale. And then that was October 3rd. And then October 6th versus Chile, Rose Bowl in Pasadena. This isn't a Rafa Marquez take. I hope Rafa does very well. But they are already imposing these type of rivals, these type of games on Rafa Marquez. And it will continue. The United States is like Mexico for Mexico, but with a security blanket. And I say this respectfully. I announced to the world that I did not think the Mexican fan base, very good fan base, would turn on the Mexican national team in the World Cup. And I don't think they did. Out of the World Cup, outside of the World Cup, they have before. On the lead up, one of the last friendlies in Mexico, the grand opening of Estadio Azteca, they booed the Mexican national team because they drew versus Portugal. And you could say whatever you want of why they did it and da-da-da-da-da. They were waiting forever outside the lines. I don't know, whatever the case may be. They were playing against Portugal, who was one of the candidates for the World Cup. And they were booed. They've been booed with lesser opponents in Mexico. Hector Herrera has come out and said that they play against them, the fan base in Mexico. Andres Guardado has said that we've seen him Jamaica versus Mexico. They turn on him. We've seen him Suriname versus Mexico. They've turned on him. The only game that the U.S. has ever won, I started that game 2013, minute 70-something after we were up 1-0. Every touch that we had, there was an ole, ole for us against their own team. So they have a reputation, and you could say it's justified, whatever you want. Mexico needs to play more games in Mexico and more games outside of Mexico, but not in the U.S. I know there are 70 million Mexican Americans in the United States, and they very much enjoy watching the Mexican national team, and I'm here for you. The nostalgia, that's what they sell you, and you show out constantly. I'm not going to question how you show out. My respects. Mis respetos, honestly. Respeto eso muchísimo, honestamente. Es una locura. You guys can do in the Rose Bowl Chivas contra Club América un miércoles por la noche y es una locura, todo agotado. It's sold out. It's insane. I'm never going to question the loyalty of the Mexican fan within the United States. That's not what's going to come out of my mouth. I'm going to question, is this a sporting reason or is this reason financial? I would argue it's not sporting. I would argue it's financial. And when you put the financial ahead of the sporting, you become dependent on the first, not the latter. And when you put those things into question, you don't worry as much about development. Mexico's got a lot of good things going for themselves. They've got a lot of good players. Gilberto Mora, Obed Vargas, Mateo Chavez, Brian Gutierrez. I can go on with an exciting list of players. The U20 squad that they took to the World Cup, I thought was a very good squad with some very good potential with some of these players. And Ochoa is a goalkeeper for the future. Talavera looks like to be the guy of the future too. Good competition can happen. But man, really? I mean, the U.S. is always going to be a game that you guys play that it just feels like it's watered down and saturated. Chile didn't go to the World Cup. Peru didn't go to the World Cup. Colombia, you'd have to see what kind of team they take. I mean, and it's in the United States. What if this game was in Colombia? What if this game was in Peru? What if this game wasn't against the U.S. and it was against, I don't know, somewhere in Europe? I hope Rafa Marquez takes note of these things and does something to try to change things, because the development comes with also who you play against, the opponents, and where you play against. Where you play against these teams. It feels like much of the same. And now we're just starting out, but the first 4 games are already in the United States. The first 4 games. What are you telling your fan base, the Mexican fans in Mexico, after such a great showing of the World Cup, where Mexico was by far the best home team out of the 3 nations? Like what they showed, forget the field. They showed good things on the field. But in the stadium, the atmosphere, the hospitality in and around the cities, chef's kiss. What are you telling these people? Thanks, but no thanks? Back to the money? Esto manda? Man, I hope it's not much of the same, but it does feel like much of the same. Rafa Marquez is what I'm clinging on to. I think he's going to change things. Maybe this was already in motion before Rafa got there. But I'm hoping Rafa, and I got a lot of faith in him, can change things. I hope they let him work. I really do. I've said in many different episodes that I've done that I don't think he's going to be there in 2030 because I don't think they're going to allow him to work. One stumble, and Mexican football is garbage in that way. They will pull ship, eject button, jump ship, eject button, and on to the next, abort. I hope that's not the case. I really do, because I think Rafa's got ceiling. He's got a ceiling, so do these players. We will see. Let me know what you think. Is it back to the old, same old, Juegos Moleros, as Tuca once said? Or will there finally be change here? Will there finally be change? Let me know.